Double trouble up here? Gosh. Oh, I see.
So
I
you're
get double trouble here too.
okay. All right then. Welcome to session number 2, academic orientations, and so this is a shorter session, just two people, so it's 20 minutes, and then we'll do. Yeah, shall I take this?
Yeah.
And then yeah. And so first we'll have Spencer Bennington from Virginia Tech, talking about teaching martial arts studies at the university, how and why. And then immediately following Spencer, we'll have Max Rainanen from Aalto University, speaking about the aesthetics of martial arts and making a subdisciplinary proposal. So we'll do both presentations, and then we'll do question and answers, and then we'll do lunch. Yeah?
Great.
Cool. So when you're ready.
Let's do it. Hello, everyone. How are we feeling? Hungry! I'm feeling so much better than the last session. I apologize if anyone had to see me yawn a million times. I feel very sleep deprived, but I'm up. I'm up now. So you get 15 shining minutes, maybe, of me. What did you say, Paul? We have 20?
You can do 20, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll try and do fewer than that, because genuinely, what I want to do this time around is pick your brain. I have some questions that I want to ask, because in a nutshell, what I'm talking about today is a year of growth, a year of proposing things and being rejected. And so I would love to talk to the hive mind about how to get better. Please help me. So today I'm talking about teaching martial arts studies at the university, who, why, and how. I am Spencer Bennington. Hello. A little bit of background. I work in the College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences at Virginia Tech. And our dean requested course proposals at the end of fall 2023 to stimulate excitement in humanities courses. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the process of designing a large online asynchronous introduction to martial arts studies class, whatever that might be. And again, my goal today is to stimulate a conversation, because my proposal didn't get selected, even though it was amazing. It was so good. But yeah, I'd like to stimulate a conversation about best practices. I would love to know if anyone has taught something that they would consider a martial arts studies course. And I'll talk about some different versions of what that might look like. And then, of course, I have some questions. Should we even be trying to teach martial arts studies as a college course? Why? Why not? And then, who might these classes serve? Those are the questions that I'm really interested in. So if you want to be thinking about those, that'd be great. Howdy! Here's some funny pictures from last year. Background about me, my disciplinary home is in an English department. So I teach writing. My formal training is in rhetoric, composition, technical communication. And so a lot of my early work has to do with Taekwondo as embodied rhetorics, or the technical communication featured in English speaking Taekwondo manuals. But today I want to talk about teaching and learning and martial arts studies more broadly. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about this, what our dean called the Dream Course Call for Proposals, and then show you a little bit of the proposal that I came up with. And I'd like to talk a bit about some syllabi that people were very kind to send me via the Martial Arts Studies Facebook page. If you're not involved with that, it's a great resource and people are super friendly. And I got a lot of great insight from people who have taught courses like this before at their universities. And so building from the course level, I was also interested in any degree programs, particularly in the United States, that bill themselves as martial arts studies programs one way or another, as well as, truthfully, something I'm more interested in, which is getting away from the university model and paying more attention to community learning that's happening with Love Fighting, Hate Violence, Southpaw Podcast, Liberation Martial Arts, Women's Martial Arts Network, and now I know about Conscious Combat Club, right? Did I get it right? So those are sites of learning that I'm more interested in. And then I want to talk a little bit more about like how to move forward. What do we do once the dream course gets denied, the dream is deferred again, and where do we go from here? So that's again really where I'd like to learn from you. I wanted to start with this quote from Douglas Weil. This 2014 article was immensely helpful because he's essentially already done the full-scale review of the many course syllabi that have been published regarding martial arts studies, and given 2 very healthy appendices of such material. So if you haven't seen this article, it's a wellspring of really important information. And this quote says, "In spite of unprecedented disciplinary diversity in higher education and the enormous popularity of Asian martial arts in the general culture, martial arts and liberal arts continue to exist in parallel universes." He also says that with the revival of interest in Dewey's experiential learning, the emphasis on embodiment and philosophy in the social sciences, and institutional encouragement of cross-disciplinary collaborations, martial arts, as lived cultural practices, are perfectly positioned to capitalize on all 3 trends. And I thought so too, but my dean didn't. So the dream course, my dean said, "Hit me with your best shot." And I tried. The dean had some requirements, some parameters to abide by. Requirement number 1, it must be a large lecture course, something that would serve hundreds or thousands of students. To accommodate that large number, it needed to be online, asynchronous modality. And this pathways thing here is a VT, institutional language, for just general education requirements that go across departments. So essentially, the course needed to align with some larger goals so that students understood how it mapped onto their existing degree program, how it served them. This is my most cynical slide, hence all the dollar signs, because all of these requirements just simply say, is this going to be profitable? I'm not necessarily happy about that question. So this was the best shot I could shoot at the time. I just gave you some screenshots here. I'm not going to go in detail. You can ask me any questions about any of this. But it's very much designed to be a 2000 level survey course. The things that I wanted to highlight are some of these goals here. So these I didn't set these up as like learning objectives because I had a menu to choose from, as it were, of established learning objectives. But I was trying to demonstrate how a course like this could reflect methods, inquiry, texts that span the pretty diverse College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences. So that's why you might see words like appreciation, knowledge, literacy, as well as skills. Because there is supposed to be a practical component to this. The call for proposal asked for potential assignments, so I leaned on some writing assignments, media analysis assignments that would be familiar to my discipline, but I also used my Taekwondo instructor pedagogical tools to try and incorporate mindfulness activities, journaling, as well as incorporating Taekwondo instructional modules that allow a student who maybe has never participated in a martial art to have a physical, embodied practice as well as their online course. Just to speak a bit about that, the idea there is if it's an online asynchronous course, this would be an online asynchronous physical module to accompany it, but most of the students taking this would not be off-site. They are on campus. They are participating in face-to-face courses otherwise. They wanted an online course so that they could essentially have an overload. And so part of the rationale here for incorporating some of these practical assignments is to encourage students to use the resources that already exist on campus, to participate in the many martial arts clubs that already exist on campus, to get out, right? But not to limit them to say that that's the way they had to participate, to give them the foundation to be able to do it solo, online, at their own pace. So again, you can ask me any questions about that proposal. It's not, obviously, it didn't get accepted, so who cares, right? It's not going to make any money, it won't make any sense. I wanted to raise this distinction. I'm calling macrame. This comes from writing studies. We frequently talk about whack-wid, the whack-wid debate of writing across the curriculum versus writing in the disciplines. And the essential question is, should we try to teach students transferable skills that they can use when approaching writing contexts that they're not familiar with, just more vaguely, writing across the curriculum? Or should we focus instead on teaching defined disciplinary skills to people who have a particular field, degree, profession in mind, and encourage them to think about writing in their specific perspective? And so I'm borrowing that to think about courses as martial arts studies across the curriculum versus martial arts studies, for more of a focused disciplinary purpose. I wanted to, of course, shout out a few really important sources. I already mentioned Douglas Wiles' work. Please check that out if you wanted to see more details about some of these syllabi that I'm going to recommend, and again, those appendices. And of course, with thinking about teaching martial arts studies, you have to think about the theory of disciplinarity. Well, maybe you don't have to, but I already read Paul's book, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So it was like, what am I really trying to push here? Am I saying that here's this new discipline, this new field that you need to appreciate in our existing college, or am I instead trying to say, here are things that you already do that coalesce in this interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary field? This one is from my neck of the woods, from Technical Communication, Jones, Moore, and Walton, 2016. What I find myself thinking about from this article all the time is this idea, this heuristic of the 3 Ps. You may have heard me mention it before: power, positionality, privilege. They use this heuristic to expand the field identity through anti-narrative of technical communication. And I think it's a particularly useful strategy for us at this point, we could say, a decade into just conferences, not as a field, but longer than that. But it's a way of looking back to look forward from some of these, what I think are really important perspectives, especially given what we've already been talking about at this conference. And then I can't say enough nice things about Liberation Martial Arts Online. You see that I linked the Patreon there because this is where I see a lot of the really important community learning happening, is in this sort of modern patron system of, I'm an independent scholar, essentially. I'm an independent research practitioner, and I'm producing very valuable work and trying to engage in communities. Please support me, right? And so Liberation Martial Arts has been one that has very much helped me in terms of learning more just via social media, right? Just by making connections through the old interwebs. Here's a few syllabi I wanted to call out again from Wiles' article, just to show you that these courses span, at least in my case, with very obvious humanities ideas. So again, I'm thinking this is a slam dunk for the College of Liberal Arts and Humanities. Got a few here. Just to drag on this idea of whack-wit, mac-made, whatever, I figured I'd put these up on the screen as an example. Here we see a film, media, and cultural theory course. Okay? Sensible enough. But then we look at the pictures, right, and we see all of Paul's great books and the child reader, and we're thinking, okay, well, this is martial arts studies from the perspective within the curriculum of media cultural studies. Perfect, makes sense. This syllabus, Philosophical and Historical Foundations of Chinese Medicine. By the title, I could say, okay, this is maybe just a historical course. But then when I see where it's offered, Pacific College of Oriental Medicine keys me into this idea, this is disciplinary, this is professional, this is someone who is trying to create an identity for themselves in a field through practice, learning for practice. So it's not that these distinctions make too much of a difference. I think it's just an approach of how we talk to administrations, how we talk to institutions about what it is exactly we're trying to do when we say something like martial arts studies. Got a few more to shout out up here from Wiles' article, but I'm just going to keep speeding along so we don't run out of time. Moving from the course level to the degree level, I'm very interested in this question of why would someone seek out a degree, a major in martial arts studies? Does it align with what we know about students' goals? What we do know is that the worldwide popularity of Asian martial arts is widely acknowledged. We see lots of things that Weil is telling us here about a special issue of the European Journal of Physical Education entitled Asian Martial Arts and Approaches of Instruction, but then also an online panel from 2000, Should Martial Arts Be Taught in Physical Education? Good Lord, Paul, put that sign down. I've got more than 5 minutes. But here's something that I find interesting. Why do students college, at least from the American perspective? A focus on careers is the short answer. 51% of students say they enrolled in higher education for higher earning potential. 45% are looking to access better job benefits. 40% say their field of study requires a degree. U.S. students have the highest interest in exploring career options and are second only to Singapore in the motivation of higher earning potential. So it is very much a student's perspective that college equals money. So in the same way that Advent's perspective, courses, degrees equal money. Just to dive in a little bit to some of these degree programs, I wanted to start with Jerry Beasley. Does that name mean anything to anyone? Has anyone heard of him? I went to, my master's program is here at Radford University. Here it is. And Jerry Beasley developed a sort of claim to fame after he saw Enter the Dragon and was inspired to teach a karate club at Radford. He was an adjunct in phys ed department at the time, but it was so popular in the context that what came out of it was this idea of karate college, where these really big names, Bill Superfoot Wallace, Joe Louis, Chuck Norris, these kinds of people were coming to podunk nowhere Radford University. And it was something pretty amazing that for years set this small school apart. This is what karate college is now. Mostly this, okay? Here's what you can get. 3 days, you pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge, you know, this kind of stuff. So American martial arts degree programs, karate college is not a degree program per se, but Bridgeport University was the very first martial arts studies degree. Come study with us, get a degree. Was, bye-bye Bridgeport. It was at University of Bridgeport 2004. Provost Healy said in 2019 that the decision was difficult based on a number of factors, but we had to get rid of it primarily because of enrollment, revenue, and student outcomes. And I had to put this here, I thought this was kind of gross. All educational institutions constantly consider their academic inventory. Barf, right? Like, just quickly, this one came from Weil. I hadn't heard of this. Indiana University in Bloomington's martial arts program is housed in the Department of Kinesiology. And as you might imagine, Weil's critique of this is that doesn't offer a BA, it's a certificate, emphasis on sport fitness and sport management, but with very little liberal arts content. I didn't put it in this screenshot, but there's like one 3,000 level class that's either special topics or maybe has some theory in it, but it's very much one of these martial arts in the disciplines, practically focused. This is one of the newest ones that came up on my radar. Sacramento State University has a partnership with Uriah Faber's gym. First of its kind. Students will train under professionals in wrestling, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, and boxing. This is a quote from the president of the college. We're doing this because we're creating a pathway to professional sports, okay, makes sense, professionalization, for those who are interested in combat sports. But this is where I'm interested. We're using this as an opportunity to create access to college for people who would never go to college. First generation, low-income students. We want them to know they're college material. Here's where it gets cheesy. We'll fight for you to make sure you create a better life for yourself and your family. I don't know how much real BS that is or just marketing, but I like this angle because if that's true and if this pays off in a way, I think that could be a really interesting way to merge what is an extremely popular idea of mixed martial arts, UFC, with first generation college access. Okay, community learning. Here's some examples. Our good love fighting, hate violence. I almost said love fighting, hate Shannon. I don't though. And of course, Jerry's Lady Sensei Women's Martial Arts Network. We were talking a little bit yesterday about the need for segregated, gendered spaces, and I think she's an excellent representation of that. And of course, I mentioned Southpaw Liberation Martial Arts. This is just a screenshot of their online, a guide to starting liberation martial arts gym. This guy writes almost as much as you, Paul. He's writing all the time. It's good stuff. And the one key factor that I wanted to point out here is they rest on this idea of no gurus, no masters. You don't need someone to teach you martial arts. You can teach yourself martial arts through experiential learning with a community of people who are genuinely interested. I see you. I see you. So future goals. How can I foster a martial arts studies community of practice suited to accommodate the needs of diverse audiences? This is $1 million question. Should we be concerned with making arguments in the language of the oppressors? Could I make a retention argument? To help students achieve their goals after graduation, college and university leaders need to understand challenges students face while enrolled. Stress is the greatest barrier to student success. 44% of students saying they feel overwhelmed and anxious. 4 in 10 students report managing their mental health and wellness as their most pressing challenge. Time management, finding like-minded peers, managing physical health. All of these things, to me, scream martial arts. These are what we know to happen in productive martial arts spaces. So am I supposed to say, oh, but look how much money we can save you on mental health resources? No, I don't want to do that if it becomes a question of who gets the money. And so the questions I want to leave you with, that I genuinely want your advice and your opinions on, because again, I'm striking out over here. How can we extend university resources to larger communities, whether it be through courses, degree programs, or just by pirating them somehow and like giving it away? How can we leverage student expertise toward undergraduate research in a way that cultivates martial arts studies communities on campus? Because again, I didn't say this, but there's student buy-in, there's faculty buy-in, administrative resistance. What do? How can we perform public scholarship on the local level for interested stakeholders? That's me. Thanks. Hey, did I do it?
Yes.
Okay, great.
The first thing.